That's a deep pass down the sideline.
Got him.
AC Jr.
Hello again, everybody. I'm Evan Massoud. Welcome to the Fred TV Sports Report. The month of August means one thing. The Fribble regular season is nearing its end and the playoffs are just around the corner. On last week's program, we saw a significant shuffle in the standings, and this week, more movement. We'll get to that right after the highlights. The Twins were one of those two teams on the move. They would take on the first place Dodgers in the second of two games played at Shoe Park last Sunday. Got out to the fast start. Bottom one after Durfee grad Josh Boria led off with a walk. Corey DeMedeiros batting second, fakes the bunt. Tyler Dineza buys it. The top spin grounder quickly by him into left field. Now Boria caught off second, draws a throw, and it goes into right. Now look at him fly. We saw that at Durfee. Loses his balance and air swims his way to the plate. 1-0 Twins in unconventional fashion. Top three, Dodgers bats waking up. Adam Rodriguez with two on, nobody out. Slices it down the line. It's a fair ball. Nate Genza around from second puts the Dodgers on the scoreboard. We're tied at one aside. Turning the lineup card now back to the top of the order. Leadoff man Brian Cipolla takes it the other way, almost to the exact spot as Rodriguez. Jared Cardoza trots home from third. It puts the Dodgers ahead 2-1, and they would not trail again. The Twins hung in there for a while, but the first place Dodgers too strong this year. They win their 14th game 9-4, sweeping the 5-game season series against the Twins. As we take a look at the standings with just a handful of games remaining, the Dodgers have officially locked up the #1 seed. They cannot be caught, which means the reigning champs, the Braves, will have to settle for second place at best. Now the Twins, despite their loss to the Dodgers and a drop down to fourth place, still clinging to playoff hopes as they have a game-and-a-half lead on the last place Smokies, who lost last night. With just 5 teams, the last place finisher will be eliminated from playoff contention. Now, next week, the regular season wraps up, but not before we see the Brewers for the first time in their last game versus the Braves. They have just one win in 4 meetings against them in 2023. Now, as the expression goes, time flies. It's hard to fathom that the Durfee Hilltopper Athletic Foundation was founded almost 15 years ago. Back in 2010, the athletic department was in desperate need of financial assistance. The old Durfee building was deteriorating, equipment was outdated, and budgets strained. But thanks to a few Hilltoppers for life who bleed red and black, the 501c3 nonprofit was established as a direct funding channel for the Durfee teams. The Hilltopper Golf Classic serves not only as their annual major fundraiser, it's also a reunion of sorts for Durfee alums. Here's more from the Fall River Country Club.
This week we've seen some of the best golfing weather all summer. How fortunate then that for the first time in 3 years, golfers and event personnel didn't have to deal with Mother Nature for the annual Hilltopper Golf Classic. Just the hilly Fall River Country Club course stood in their way. In the early days of the Durfee Hilltopper Athletic Foundation's existence and prior to the first ever golf tournament, Treasurer Melissa Panchley told us that multiple events were held throughout the year, but on a much smaller scale, many of which we covered right here on Fred TV, like the annual Friendraiser held the Friday before Thanksgiving.
And that was really just to get people involved. It might have been like $30. It wasn't really to raise money. And Mr. Hargrave said, if we're going to raise money, I know how to run a golf tournament. We'll do a golf tournament. And he did the golf tournament for years and years by himself. And really, this is our only fundraiser now.
As the originator and organizer of this tournament, Bob Hargraves was heavily involved in the foundation. We had the pleasure of speaking with him back in 2017. Sadly, last September, Mr. Hargraves passed away. But his legacy will live on through his family's passion for Durfee. His son Michael and grandson Colin, both former Hilltopper athletes, hit the links every summer in support of this event. But this year was bittersweet as they golfed in memory of their family patriarch.
It's really special because of how much he loved golf, how much he loved Durfee, and how
much he loved the people that of Fall River that are here to play and stuff. So honestly, it's just a real honor for my family.
You know, he loved this tournament. He loved all about Durfee, loved all about all the athletes, all the ex-athletes, and getting everybody together, you know, and to give back to Durfee High School. That was his most important thing.
And the younger generation of Hargreaves look to continue with that same enthusiasm by building up the Hilltopper community in an effort to stave off the transiency we see more and more in today's society. For them and those closest to them, it's all about Durfee pride.
For us, it's more like of a family tradition in a sense because of how much the school means to us. So we love Durfee sports.
I'm one of the youngest from a big family. Most of us went to Durfee High School, and you know that's what we grew up red and black. That's about it.
The Golf Classic saw its highest number of golfers to date. Approximately 150 players took off from the 9th fairway for the shotgun start. While thankfully the foundation isn't getting as many requests for new equipment these days, it is supporting in other ways, like the various activities and camps we're seeing at Durfee this summer, such as the Basketball Skills and Drills Clinic we visited last week. According to organizers, the DHAF stands to profit about $15,000 from this year's one-day fundraiser.
And with that projected $15,000, the foundation will surpass the $200,000 mark for funds raised since its inception. This is always one of my favorite events to cover because for me as well, it's great to see so many friends and familiar faces. Congratulations to everyone involved on another successful tournament. Now, from Durfee Sports to Diamond Sports, here's an update from Stonehaven Street. Bengals Athletic Director Bobby Bailey is prepping for his second year on the job, one that figures to be far more challenging than year one. After fall 2022, the Harrington Athletic Fields were cordoned off ahead of the anticipated construction of the new diamond. This led to baseball and softball home games being played at the Swansea YMCA last spring. As you can see from our Fred TV drone aerials, the fields are not the well-manicured playing surfaces we once knew. Now, with the new school year less than 4 weeks away and the outdoor facilities off limits, the task of scheduling has become even more cumbersome.
Going back and making bus schedules for practices along with games and make sure that we're not sending 5 or 6 buses out. And it's just because we don't have the capacity to do it. I mean, if we could get more drivers, that would be amazing. But, you know, bus companies right now are slammed. And then just the timing of the games. You know, you still have routes that are being ran for schools. So scheduling conflicts are the biggest thing.
Director Bailey says the fall game schedule is nearly finalized, but again, with on-site fields not usable, every sport will be off campus with the exception of girls volleyball, who will still play at the James T. Ashley Gym this school year. Boys and girls soccer will play some games at the Swansea YMCA and hopefully some on city grounds. Cross-country home meets will be held at the Bishop Conley campus, along with football, which will make use of the Cougars' old grass fields for Saturday afternoon games. Remember, Conley does not have stadium lights. Now, I did reach out to the school's administration this week regarding the heavy equipment that you saw in those aerial shots. Those crews are working on additional parking solutions for the upcoming school year because nearly 75 spaces along the athletic fields will be lost once construction fencing goes up. No official groundbreaking ceremony has been scheduled as of this program. The building committee meeting is August 29th at 5:30 in the restaurant, room 251, and it is open to the public. Okay, our last stop of the week takes us to the banks of the South Watuppa Pond, where the Troy City Titans were in action last weekend at Atlantis Charter School for their third home game of 2023. The Titans still looking to snap a losing streak that extends back through last season. Could they get the best of the Valley Generals in this opening night rematch? Well, the Titans would have to play from behind early in this one after the Generals had a 50-plus yard dash by QB Trayon Dobbs, setting up a red zone attack. The Generals looking at 2nd and goal from the 5. Dobbs with the handoff to Markel Dobbs, and he's in for the score. Touchdown, Generals. They attempt the two-point conversion here. This time, it's Lorenzo Catlett on the carry, gets a block, and he is in. 8-0 Valley Generals. The Titans would be forced to punt on their first drive, pinning the Generals back deep. Ensuing drive now, Dobbs from his own end zone heaves it towards the sideline, and it is intercepted by Lamont Scott, who almost makes it a pick six, tackled and marked down at the 1. Titans take over. It's 1st and goal at the 1-yard line on the other end of the field. Corey Barrows calls his own number, dives into the end zone, and the Titans now on the board. Make it 8-6 the score. They would also go for 2, this time Barrows going to the air. Connects with Lennox Green to tie it up 8-8. There's a close game brewing here, but unfortunately so were the thunderstorms. Minutes after our camera crew left, the skies opened up with torrential rain and lightning. Officials suspended play at the half with the score 16-14 in favor of the Valley Generals. They never resumed. This game has been scheduled to pick up where it was halted on August 26th if its outcome is projected to have a direct effect on the standings and seedings for the playoffs. Now the Titans will be back in action tomorrow night on the South Shore as they visit the Marshfield Hurricanes in a Week 2 rematch. The Canes created quite an offensive storm in the first meeting, blowing out the Titans 42-20 on June 24th. That will wrap things up for us here on show number 3. More great content for you next time. We'll hear from the Chief Operating Officer of the School Department, Ken Pacheco, on the punch list for this year's Durfee Athletic Complex renovations, as well as what's left to do on campus. Plus, we're back at the Board and Light Marina for the annual Poker Run fundraiser. Join me right here next Friday night at 7:30. For our studio crew, Alex Mello, Craig Salvador, Daniel Keating, and our director, Mike Ferreira, as well as 2 other Fred TV alums, Zach Souza and David Montero, who were with me in the field this week. I'm Evan Massoud. Have a great weekend, everyone.